Howdy, my fellow comic book fans, and welcome to the podcast. Unfortunately, it's going to be slightly different than usual. We normally have me and Steve discussing subjects and topics and things and back and forth. Unfortunately, if you follow my social media, you know that last week I was pretty ill. I had the mumps, which was nice. My face was out here somewhere and down here. It was horrible. And this week, poor Steve's not very well either. So in order to get a podcast out, it looks like it's just stuck with me, I'm afraid. So yeah, but this week I'm going to be discussing the Batman trailer. You may have seen it if you are like me and a massive fan of Batman. You would definitely have seen this trailer, and you might agree or disagree with some of my opinions about it. So first of all, I'll just get my Batman that's right, my Batman notebook out, and we'll dive straight in. First of all, opening scene, you see a guy getting suffocated, I presume, with tape around his head and no more lies written on it. Now, I don't know if this is right or wrong or not, but I've sort of got the feeling that might be Batman's new origin story. That could be Mr. Wayne Sr., I think. Argue with me if you want to, but if you think about it, we've done to death the murder in the alley, so now we have the suffocation in the house instead. That would seem to make sense to me anyway, but we'll have to wait and find out, obviously. We don't know. We will find out when the film comes out. At the moment, it's also on hold because Robert Pattinson has tested positive for COVID-19, which is great. You know, that stuff gets everywhere. It's nasty, and we hope him a quick and speedy recovery. Now, we know we've got Jim Gordon in the trailer as well. No Commissioner Gordon yet. And if you check on IMDb, because I'm kind of a nerd that way and I did check, he's listed as Jim Gordon, which means he's probably just a police officer or a detective at this time, which would also indicate that he's obviously looking to be a beginning of the Batman storyline as opposed to later on when he is obviously Commissioner. It's played by Jeffrey Wright, of course. Sorry, Jeffrey Wright. I have to remember these things, write these down because I'm terrible. Good actor. I believe he was in some of the James Bond films and things like that as well. So it should be an interesting side storyline of him and what he has to do with the actual story of Batman, but we'll find out. When we first see the opening scene of Batman walking across the floor, all you see is his boots. And from the look of his boots, it looks like he's a bit more of a gothic, dark sort of style of Batman with his suit and things. I mean, I'm pretty sure that somewhere in the wardrobe somewhere, I have those boots from my gothic days. If you ever own New Rocks, you know how hard it is to walk in them. But it should be set in a more of a darker scene, which is what we kind of want from Batman, being as though it is a dark and brooding storyline. Technically speaking, he's got a load of PTSD and all sorts, so he should be dark and broody. He should not be neon glowing and have bat nipples, but everyone to their own. Obviously, in the trailer, we see that there are notes to the Batman. Actually, the Batman, which makes me smile slightly. We know that it's the Riddler. It must be the Riddler because, again, on IMDb, Paul Dano is listed down as playing the Riddler. So, and we also open the note and we find a riddle inside, which some people on the internet solve within like 30 minutes of the trailer coming out. I mean, fair play to them. They're obviously smarter and have a lot more time on their hands than I do. But, go for it. That's what you like to do. You enjoy yourselves, boys and girls. Is it a good choice to have the Riddler as the main antagonist? Obviously, historically, new Batman would be fighting someone like the Joker, probably the Joker anyway, because he is the best, arguably, the best villain in the Batman series, and also he is the main antagonist of Batman. He's got this weird relationship. Some say that you wouldn't have the Joker if you didn't have Batman, so does Batman cause the supervillains to come out, or would the supervillains all react? It's existential stuff and all sorts of ridiculous, but the Riddler as the main bad guy, don't think it's been done. Well, it has been done before. A certain Jim Carrey, but again we're going back to the neon craziness of Batman, which was trying to relive the 60s but was worse than the 60s. I mean, the 60s were of the time. Adam West was an excellent Batman and definitely of his time, but doesn't really go with the storylines anymore, especially when you look at all the comic book laws and things like that, and like the Dark Knight and things like that. It's all very grim and grey, and the 80s and 90s Batmans were all very murdery and sultry and things like that. So I mean, when they brought out Batman Forever and things like that, it made the little child inside me cry, because we didn't want that Batman. We wanted the brooding, angry Batman. Now, we do see in the trailer, as you've just seen, we have Joker henchmen. I'm not entirely sure whether they're going to tie in the Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix, because that was a really good film if you've not seen it. Spoilers, it's a really good film. I mean, that's not really a spoiler, but you know. And their makeup is very similar to the Joker gangs as they started out at the end of the Joker. So I don't know whether they're going to tie that in, whether Joaquin Phoenix would be happy to appear as the Joker. That'd be quite good. I'd like to see that. But yeah, so they have those henchmen there. So somewhere in the line, maybe not this film, I believe they're trying to look at maybe launching a trilogy like the Christian Bale films, a trilogy of Batmans, in which case he's definitely going to appear. He has to appear. He's the Joker. As you've just seen, we also have Selena Kyle playing Catwoman. Again, we know it's Catwoman because good old IMDb lists her as playing Catwoman. There's a good nod to her being Catwoman. If you look closely at her balaclava she's wearing while she's Robin, 2 little pointy ears appeared in folds of the hood, which is great. Don't know how her storyline's going to intermingle, whether they're going to take from the source material or make something up. I don't know. Again, this is a pre-production trailer, so I'm not entirely sure how any of it's going to fit together with the actual movie. But it has got us all talking, so I mean, the trailer is definitely doing its job. And of course, there's good old Colin Farrell. Doesn't look like Colin Farrell. The makeup is excellent, and he's obviously playing the Penguin. And again, go and look at it on IMDb, but you'll see a list of characters, and so you know exactly who's going to be in the film. But he's listed as playing the Penguin. Now, the Penguin again, they seem to be throwing all of them at you at once, and I can't help but think that this trailer is not actually how the movie is going to be. It could be, but I don't think they're going to have enough time to bring in all these bad guys unless it's some sort of like League of Evil or something that they're going to throw together. But I don't think it's going to happen that way, because it's also an origin story and the beginning of the Batman. So I don't know. I'll wait to see. I mean, I'd love to see the Penguin. Danny DeVito played him excellently in the original Batman films, which are still my personal favourite films. Fight me on that if you want, that's fine. But we'll see what happens. I mean, if it's going to be on a darker, more broody style, then the Penguin's not going to be as funny. If they try to play him slightly funny, I don't know if it's going to work, whether it was going to mash well, or whether he's going to be just super evil. I mean, the super evil Penguin would be quite good, I think. He's been done comic style, and he's been done play for laughs as well, but a super evil Penguin would be quite a scary character to have in the film. So, you know, fingers crossed that's the sort of thing they do. That's what they're going for. Now, just there, I've paused it for you. Just there was a character wearing a mask. Now, is it the same character from the beginning of the film who's suffocating the man in the suit? Or is it another character? I mean, it could be that this is also Scarecrow bringing in the trailer as well. I mean, if it is Scarecrow, I mean, you think of how many of the main antagonists of Batman are in this trailer. They're all thrown at it. I mean, the only one we don't actually see in the trailer is the Joker. I mean, obviously there are other ones as well. I mean, yes, I know you lot with your massive comic book knowledge will all know this, but all the main antagonists that we've seen in all the previous films seem to be in this trailer, and for one film. Now, that's how are they going to like just do it at the end, saying, look, popping up, these are all the different bad guys that are coming soon? I don't know how it's going to work. The idea of this trailer is not to tell us how it works, it gives a little taster of what's coming, I suppose. And what's coming looks pretty good. I'll have to admit, I'm quite looking forward to it. I don't know about you guys, but it looks pretty good. Now, the way I've watched this trailer, and I watched it a few times, you know, because I have to do some research for this podcast. What do you call it, a podcast? Yes, but it will be a podcast because I'm doing it as a podcast. I mean, it could technically be a vlog about the Batman trailer, but I'm doing it as a podcast, so don't fight me on that. It's a podcast, and it will be even better when the podcast actually is available to download as a podcast. I mean, I'm keeping all the audio so I can upload it to a podcasting site. When I got a website, so yeah, you don't need to know that. It's just podcast background stuff. That's boring stuff. But I viewed this trailer a few times, and the last time I viewed it, I thought, what about if you watch everything as the film, but then you get all the superhero villains right at the end, and the Batman talking to the police, and if you imagine that as the final scene of the movie, then it's almost like, because I think they're trying to get a trilogy out of this franchise at least. I mean, Robert Pattinson could do with Batman the trilogy. I don't know, it could be awesome, but they're trying to. It looks, if you view it like that, then it means this would be a final scene of the film, which would make more sense because they wouldn't have that much footage to go up against, because they've not. It's a pre-production one that they've not finished filming yet. I mean, it keeps stopping for various reasons, but mainly because of COVID, like most things have stopped for. As a final scene, it could be a case of this guy the Penguin pops up, then the Joker gang pops up, and then obviously Gordon is now phoning the Batman to come to crime scenes because it's to do with him. So I don't know whether that would be a last scene or not, if you get what I mean. Watch the trailer again and try and picture it that way, and then you can imagine what I'm talking about. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. I mean, if Stephen was here, we were going, shut up, do waffling again. But that's how I kind of viewed the last time. I'll go back and watch it again, see if anything else pops out of it, obviously. But yeah, obviously, from the way that the Batman is beating up that henchman, and obviously the music, which I can't show you the music, play the music, because, you know, it's Nirvana and Something in the Way. Anyone my age, or even younger, would know who Nirvana is and their kind of music. So it's obviously setting the scene for it being a very dark Batman. This is not a cheerful Batman. There are no bat nipples. There's no neon bad guys. There's no bat boat and bat bike and or the anti-shark spray or anything like that. It looks to be like an actual proper film that's going to be broody, dark, violent, and obviously almost like naked anger, which is what the Batman's all about. It seems to have lost its way a long time ago. I mean, I can't hold too much against some of the earlier films, because they did give us Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I mean, it's just a classic. It's funny. You can't argue against that. The Batman films itself were terrible, but Arnie made that character his own, and fair play to him. We see the Batmobile. It's there. It's an interesting looking Batmobile. Again, I suppose whether they're trying to be like a realistic Batman, they're trying to make the Batmobile not so crazy. I mean, I love the was it the jumper, or whatever it is called in the Christian Bale Batmans. That was quite a good Batmobile. I also really loved the Tim Burton Batmobile. That was properly that. Well, I suppose that's because I grew up with it, but that was my original Batmobile. It was brilliant. I still think you're going to be hard pushed to make a Batmobile any cooler than the animated series Batmobile. So sleek, so like 30s Art Deco styling, but actually pretty cool. I mean, if they could put that in the movie, that'd be awesome. But I don't know whether they will ever. This one is trying to be realistic, but obviously it's still got the jet engine out the back and everything else like that. But it sounds like a V8. I don't know how you get a jet-powered V8, but I mean, I kind of want one. Not entirely sure how fuel efficient it would be. Would it have all the gadgets on, or will it just be a car that's there to chase bad guys? I don't know. I'm hoping it's got gadgets, because Batman's all about the gadgets. Being probably one of the only proper superheroes. Now, you can fight me on this if you want to fight. It's fine. That's what the comment section is for. He's obviously an actual superhero as opposed to Superman and things like that. I mean, to be fair, they're all classed as superheroes, but they've all got powers. And that kind of gives them an advantage. Whereas poor old Batman, all he's got is a rubber suit and billions of dollars. So he's actually at a massive disadvantage, but he's still a superhero. He still goes out there. He's in the Justice League. All those people have got superpowers. He's not. He has to catch the bus to take the Batmobile down the shops. He can't fly anywhere. So he's definitely an actual superhero. So yes, leave a comment below if you want to fight me on that one. I'm sure you will too. Now, hopefully, DC will mend a few bridges with this film. Personally, I think the last couple of years of DC films have gone severely downhill. They've burnt a lot of bridges. I mean, they're trying to get the moody. Because Marvel's gone completely the opposite way. Yes, it's emotional and I got the click and things like that. Everyone dies and things like that. But it's still amusing. There's a lot of comedy in those films. Whereas DC tried to go the other way and tried to be dark and broody, like a lot of their comics are. But it doesn't seem to have worked. I mean, it's just not. I mean, Batman versus Superman. Ugh, really? I mean, I didn't get. I almost walked out of the cinema on that one. I wanted some money back. Honestly, I mean, I know they tried. I don't blame Batfleck. Batfleck had all my support when it was announced he was going to be playing Batman as a slightly older Batman who'd retired and things. Yeah, great. So the original story of that sounded really good. I mean, Batman vs Superman is legendary in the comic book world, but the film, no. And I mean, like the Joker movie and the Harley Quinn movie, they're trying. They are trying. Bless them. But hopefully, this will be the correct stepping stone to actually bring back the audience support for the DC films. Now, I mean, I don't try to have a downer on DC because I'm a big DC fan. And I know lots of people on the internet slag DC off for the last 5 years. And sometimes some of the things that they say are correct, but I don't want to be that person. I want DC to succeed because ultimately then we have Marvel and we have DC and we get to enjoy both of them. So come on, DC, save Batman for us. There's also a lot of people bad-mouthing Robert Pattinson as Batman. I say watch the film before having a go at him. I'm not a big fan of him. Some of his films are questionable. I was never a fan of sparkling vampires and things like that, but I wasn't the target audience. So, I mean, why have a go at someone for not reaching out to you when you're not the target audience for that film? It just seems daft. Robert Pattinson, it's his job. He's an actor. It's his job to make us believe that he's Batman. So wait and watch him before you have a go at him. I mean, to be fair, he didn't bulk up for this film. Apparently, he did lots of things to bulk up. Apparently, this personal trainer had a nightmare with him. But the suit sort of bulks him up to the size of Batman should be. Because, I mean, Batman really, unless it's Batman, was it 2099? I can't remember. The futuristic animated one where he's a skinny young lad. Batman generally in the comic books and things is a big shredded bloke. He's built. He works out a lot. So the new suit sort of helps with that. I mean, to be fair, it can't be fun having to work out 6-7 hours a day for a film role and then having to break for 6 months in between, then do it again. I wouldn't want to do that. That's a nightmare. I mean, look at me. Does it look like I work out? I should work out, but I don't at the moment. I am losing some beef there, so, you know, hopefully that works well. But yeah, I mean, just don't judge him before you see his film. If you watch the film and he's terrible in it, then fair play. But he's an actor. That's his job. The pressure's on his shoulders to make us believe that he is and can carry on as Batman. So, jury's out. We'll wait and see what the film's like. Am I looking forward to this film? Yeah, I think I am. I am looking forward to this film. This could be a really good Batman film. Cue a year from now, whenever it comes out, a year and a half from now, me going back to watching this and saying, oh my god, how could I have been so stupid? The film is terrible. I really hope that doesn't happen. We don't need that from DC. We need a proper Batman film. I mean, if you look at things, if you look at the new animated Harley Quinn TV series, watch that. If DC had watched that before making the Birds of Prey films and things like that, if they'd modelled it on that would have been the perfect feeling for Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey. That's exactly. It's funny. It's extremely violent. So much swearing. It's unbelievable. It's R-rated, which is exactly what it should have been. And I'm kind of hoping that this is what they've been thinking about with this Batman film. There is rumour that it is going to be an R-rated Batman film, which means it's actually an adult film. I'll use that because adult film also means other things. and I'm pretty sure there probably is quite a lot of those out there already. But an adult Batman film is what we want. We want the extreme violence. We want the depth of character. We want the brooding. We want the fact that he's been through shit in a handbag. But if DC can't bring that to the screen, then they can't see that they're going to keep trying the same thing. It ain't working. So we need to really, fingers crossed, and hope for the best for this actual Batman. I mean, this is a pre-production trailer. Obviously, I'm still holding my breath for a post-production trailer, which might actually show us more of the film as opposed to just characters and the odd scenes and things that we've got to try and piece things together, because this could be a complete caravan of rubbish. So caravan of garbage. Shout out to that YouTube channel. Good YouTube channel. Go and check that out. Not sponsored by them, but they are good. But I mean, we are hoping so much for this Batman to actually work. We have missed Batman so much. I mean, Michael Keaton, still probably my most favourite Batman ever. He played it of the time. It was the 80s, so it was dark and brooding, a little bit gothic noir with Tim Burton, which worked pretty well for Batman because it's kind of set in the 30s, but kind of also not. I mean, he's got all the styles of the 30s, but it's modern day with technology and gadgets and things. Then it kind of went downhill quickly. But then it picked up again in the 2000s with Batman Begins and Batman Returns and things like that. It's Batman Returns? Okay, well, Batman's confused now. But hopefully we're back on the upward spiral. Bat Nipples and Val Kilmer and George Clooney and see that's still in the back of our minds. So we're hoping for not that, but it could happen. But please don't, please don't. Now, as I'm on my own today, our podcast usually lasts about an hour because there's back and forth and we both have a take on it and things. I'm just on my own, so it's just my opinion. I'm sure Steve can put some interesting comments on that. He probably disagrees with me on a lot of things. He normally does, with him being himself and ginger and angry. He does disagree with me a lot. I'm the hopeful one of the group, I suppose. He's sort of the pessimist, but I think he actually quite looking forward to this film as well. He spoke to me about it a couple of weeks ago, and he actually is looking forward to the movie. So this trailer might be foreshadowing a decent Batman film. It might not be as well. I've been burnt by trailers many a time before, but we'll see what happens. But yes, as I was saying, as I'm on my own, it's only about a half hour podcast. I'm sorry about that. We also only have one subject, which is the Batman. I can go on for a lot longer about the Batman if you want, but yeah, this is about the trailer, not just Batman. But I hope that you liked this smallish podcast and it just tied you over and give you something to think about with the Batman. Also, don't forget you can leave us a comment and let me know that I'm talking a big pile of rubbish, or if you agree with some things, if you have a different term and different view of some things. I mean, let me know, please. I know lots of people aren't happy with Robert Pattinson. I know lots of people are umming and ahhing about certain things. Please, just let me know below. Don't forget also to give the channel a bit of love and smash that like button if you like what you saw. You could also subscribe to the channel. That would help us out a lot. We're trying to grow as a community, and that would actually help us grow as a community, obviously. You can also check out our social media. That's on the screen somewhere, as I normally do this and this. That shows you what we're doing behind the scenes. Also, I put up sometimes some things that make me laugh, lots of nerdy things, and sometimes Stephen has a go at me via Twitter, so don't miss out on that. It's always entertaining. Yeah, so there you go. That's this week's podcast. The Batman. Looking forward to it. Mildly excited to moderately excited, but also a bit scared that DC go cock it up. Thanks for watching, and I hope you join us next time. Don't forget, stay safe out there, and also watch for the bat signal. Stay safe. Much love.